The football team is looking to improve on their 0-2 record going into Saturday's matchup. The Trojans host Abilene Christian and are gunning for a victory after two rough games that put them in the hole to start the season. After starting the season 0-2, the Trojans are looking to gain their first victory. Saturday, Troy takes on Abilene Christian in hopes of gaining their first win at home.
You can't go to sleep at the switch against Abilene Christian. I think they lost by 6 Saturday to Northern Arizona, and they lost by 3 in the Georgia Dome over here against Georgia State in the opener. A well-coached team lining up and getting after it, both sides of the ball in the kicking game. And so that means what Troy has to do, what we have to do, is match that and exceed that to have a chance to win the game.
Abilene Christian is a 1AA team coming into Veterans Memorial Stadium, but all the players know they can't overlook this group of guys.
You can never overlook a team. You know, we got to go in there with our head set, ready to go to put up 30 points on whoever it is.
We're not going to overlook anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter SEC, 1AA. It doesn't matter. We're still going to go out there and execute the way we should.
After playing Troy's conference foe Georgia State, Abilene Christian put up a fight and only lost by 1 to the Panthers, the final score being 38-37.
I really haven't heard of Abilene Christian before, and they played Georgia pretty tough.
We're not going to overlook them because they almost beat Georgia State, and they're in our conference, so can't overlook nobody.
Troy will play Abilene Christian Saturday night with kickoff at 6 p.m. The Trojan soccer team is looking to add to their record and keep their winning streak going over the weekend. The soccer team hosts the Jacksonville State Gamecocks over the weekend. This is the second year in a row the two teams have met. Last year, Troy went to Jacksonville and lost 1-0 in double overtime. The Gamecocks stand at 3-3 for the season. Jacksonville State has a 1-2 record on the road. Troy currently has a 4-2 overall record. The home record for the Trojans is 3-0. And head coach Jason Hamilton thinks this weekend's matchup will be a good game for his team.
A tough game, very similar team to us. I think they play similar to how we do. They have very similar athletes. So it's last year's game here. Watching the film, it was a back and forth game. We played them in the spring. To a 0-0 draw, and it was a very close game, so both teams had chances. So that's what I'd expect to see this weekend. I'm not sure what they have yet. Haven't dug into it too far. We just started looking at them today, but I'm sure it'll be a good game for us.
Troy is currently on a 4-game winning streak. Continuing the winning streak is the goal for the Troy volleyball team. They are currently on a 5-game winning streak and looking to add to it. Troy heads to Auburn to compete in the Active Ankle Challenge hosted by Auburn University. This is the second year for the Trojans to compete in this tournament. Last year, Troy came out with a 1-2 record, defeating only Mercer. The teams in attendance at this year's tournament will be South Florida and Winthrop, along with the host team, Auburn. The focus, though, for the Trojans is not each team coming up, but the match that is in the immediate future.
We can worry about South Florida and Winthrop later. We get a chance to watch them play before we play Auburn. But, we've got some film on them that the coaching staff will be looking at and breaking down. But Auburn's our next opponent, and we try not to look too far ahead. That's not very good for us as a program. So Auburn's in our minds right now, and that's who we're really trying to game plan for and make sure that we're prepared to play them on Friday night.
This tournament will conclude the Trojans' road streak as they will return back home to start conference play. And while the women's golf team completed their first tournament of the season, the men's team is just getting ready to start theirs. The men's team will be headed to Kiowa Island, South Carolina, to compete at the Invitational at Kiowa. The men's team is looking to improve since last season. After the completion of the Sun Belt Conference Championships, the team ended in 8th place out of 10. The team is returning all 10 players from last year. The Trojans head to South Carolina to compete this weekend. It's been 2 weeks since the cross-country team has competed and training has been in full swing. The last competition was the South Alabama Opener held in Mobile, where Troy finished 3rd. This weekend, the Trojans head to Mobile yet again, but this time to compete in the Azalea City Classic hosted by South Alabama. This is the 3rd year for the cross-country team to compete in this tournament. The event will be held at the Mobile County Fairgrounds instead of the conference track that Troy performed on before. And with the new tournament approaching, head coach Elliott Blount wants to see toughness and competitiveness from his runners.
You know, they've got to show that they're tough. You know, that's the bottom line. So all I want to see out of them is just some competitiveness. You know, if we can do that, I don't think there's a distance or a team in the conference really. You know, the top teams are, you know, pretty far out there. But right for where we're at, we have to start making headway and just getting nastier and being more of a competitive team. So I think this weekend is going to really test some of the, you know, the mental and you know, kind of psychological fortitude of these runners. So.
This is the second meet of Troy's season to be held in Mobile. And now we will take a look at former Trojan football players who are now in the pros. Jacob Harrison is with us now for a look.
Thank you, Amy. DeMarcus Ware is entering his first season with the Denver Broncos, and he got off to a hot start. Ware posted 2 tackles along with 1.5 sacks in a 31-24 win over the Indianapolis Colts. And Oziu Manura racked up 2 tackles along with teammate Jonathan Massaquoi to help push the Atlanta Falcons past the New Orleans Saints 37-34. And Leotis McKelvin had an active day for the Buffalo Bills in their 23-20 overtime win over the Chicago Bears. McKelvin had 13 tackles and forced a fumble on Brandon Marshall. McKelvin also returned a punt for 14 yards. And Albert Mack got a tackle in the Houston Texans 17-6 win over the Washington Redskins. And Jarrell Jernigan played well despite the Giants' looming offense. Jernigan caught 4 passes from Eli Manning for 25 yards in the Monday night 35-14 loss to the Detroit Lions. And wrapping up with Steve McClendon, the Steelers' nose tackle was in on 3 tackles in the Steelers' 30-27 win over the Cleveland Browns. And that was a look at the Trojans in the pros.
And tune in every week for a look at what the former Trojans are doing. And we will end sports with a trip down memory lane. It was 10 years ago Tuesday night when the Trojans pulled off what many consider one of the biggest wins in Trojan football history. On September 9th, 2004, the Trojans defeated the 17th-ranked Missouri Tigers within the friendly confines of what was then known as Movie Gallery Stadium. The goalpost came down, but it was one play in particular that stands out in the minds of Trojan fans. Here's Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit on the call.
From the 27-yard line, Pedersen again breaks into the secondary. Look at this! This is an offensive lineman taking it on the way. Junior Lusant, he scored! That is an unbelievable play.
It was a 63-yard touchdown run by offensive lineman Junior Lusant. After receiving a pitch from running back DeWitt Betterson, Lusant rumbled, stumbled, and bumbled down the field to tie the game at 14, which ended up shifting the momentum to the Trojans, leading to the epic win. Lusant's triumphant run was one of the Pontiac's game-changing plays of the year and definitely one of the top plays in the hearts of Trojan fans. And that's all the time we have for Trojan Sports Now. Check us out online at trojanvision.troy.edu to catch anything you missed. I'm Amy Austin. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Trojans!
Trojan Sports Now.